point, because if I leave one little trail, you argue with that and make that a huge point, like that I just said that. If you want to do that, argue my main points. Just talk to my main points is what I want you to do.
What is your main point? If desperation exists, I have a right to exploit it. Okay, yeah, I've argued that. It's unethical. It's indecent. It's uncivilized. All right, what other point do you have? The other points are my points that you won't argue with, that you won't provide any rational argument against. I've explained why inheritance is unproductive economically. I've explained why bankruptcy completely corrupts the system. It takes the risk out of risk-taking. It takes the full risk out of risk-taking and forces people who have no interest in preposterous and stupid risk. It forces them to pay the freight for it. It forces them to subsidize risk-taking. Why should somebody who has no interest in risk-taking be obliged to subsidize risk-taking? Why should somebody who wants no trains in their living room have to subsidize the people who might put one in their living room?
What happens? Individuals invest, cities invest, states invest, the country invests. That's what happens in capitalistic societies. You think it's some sort of a robot that's controlling investment? You think it's, some sort of a monarchy, like you say, that controls all the investments? No, individuals control investment.
What do you mean? Yeah, no, I'm sorry, that's completely idiotic. 1% control investment, or maybe even the top 10. Let's take the top 10% even. They control 99% of what gets invested. All right, that's how the system works. And the only way government can ever do any investing is if it can acquire revenues. And it can't acquire revenues because we keep making people exempt to taxation. So if you have no one to, if we're not going to tax the rich, then there's no fucking place to glean any fucking revenues. Because the fucking workers obviously have no surplus because you've driven their wages down to competition with a Chinaman working 16 hours a day. So how the fuck can the people how can they control any investment? They don't have any fucking capital. All they have is debt.
These people that have money that you coin capitalists, really, I mean, calling a rich person a capitalist is like calling, I don't know, everyone's a capitalist. Everyone that's involved in the capitalist society is a capitalist, so I guess we're just getting into semantics here, but I mean...
What a pile of shit. I mean, what? Because it says in God we trust on the money, it means I'm religious? Is that what you're saying? I mean, it's just a pile of crap. Okay? It's a philosophy. All right? There's plenty of people who are stuck in this system. They don't believe in this system. They don't want this system. But they don't have the power as individuals to do a damn thing about it. And maybe eventually the mindset's going to change, and especially after this holocaust that we're going to step into, this economic holocaust, people are going to start realizing whose dick is in their ass, okay? And it's the rich man's.
You're characterizing somebody that's rich as being the only people that love this system, and the point is, like I said before, the majority of people do like the system. We'll pull...
Yeah, the majority don't like this system, okay? The majority aren't provided any choice because the two-party system in this country is both controlled by big business, all right? So all you have is the social liberals versus the social conservatives, basically, as the choice. They're both going to be economic conservatives in a lot of ways. I mean, certainly there's differences and there's degrees, and there's substantial differences, but... The real choices aren't even on the table, all right? The real discussion isn't even been had because people like you throw the word communist out. And so it's time for people like me to throw out the word monarchist, okay? That's all you are. And racist is another word I'm going to use because your idea of entitlement is exactly that. Your idea of legacy wealth is exactly that. What legacy did the slaves get from slavery? What legacy for their productive work did they get to carry into the future? Anything? No. What they got was, the legacy of ignorance, of being uneducated for 150 years, and having no culture. That's their fucking legacy. All right? So you endorse that kind of racism, and that's what it is. So I'll just call you all racist too. Okay, I'll find every slanderous word and exaggeration I can throw at you, and that'll be the argument we'll have. Okay, so it'll be that we'll go with those extremes, because you can't even understand the word incentive economics. That's too much for you, right? Because anything that's other than free market with bankruptcy and free ride birthright. I mean, that's what you're basically, what you're advocating is nothing less than monarchy. Okay, as soon as you endorse legacy wealth, you've endorsed a noble system.
The fucking yard and say how many hate the system, who wants to change, and I guarantee you, there's not going to be a majority. People currently like being rich. So
yeah, right. They love working 2 jobs and having $30,000 or $40,000 in credit card debt. They just love that. You will see. We'll see, fella. We'll see how all things washes out in the next 10 years. People love a lot of lies. Okay, there's a lot of deluded people believing in God, believing in a lot of dopey things. But when the truth gets revealed, okay, they might catch on. But the only way they're going to catch on is they have to see through propagandists like you.
Like I said before, look, I don't know your personal values. I mean, I watched some of your videos. I understand that you like government. You like the people deciding everything together. You like this socialist sort of ideals. And all I said was that what you proposed in your video, and I mean, you said this, you want to restrict wages based on $35,000 to $200,000, and you want businesses to be invested by the government. Look at the results of that, and the implications of that.
Well, you can't look at the results or the implications because it's never been done in the history of mankind.
Wages are restricted. Who's going to pick what the wages are? The market isn't, right? You want this to be picked in some other means. So how's that going to be picked up?
Well, the same way we establish other things in the world. We've established how much dioxin can be in drinking water. We establish standards for things. We'll establish the minimum standards, all right? And then we establish the maximum standards. And then it's up to the person running the business, collecting $250,000, who is subject to being fired by the consumers at their whim. Okay, no guaranteed contracts, no guaranteed anything. All right, he has to do his damn fucking job and satisfy the customers.
I assume there's going to be some sort of a controller. Maybe not a dictator, but somebody that's elected in that's going to decide these things. A central command is required for that.
Yeah, well, you can call any democracy a central command then. You can call any representative democracy a central command. But it's a representatives of the people. The president isn't controller. He's a representative of the people, asshole.
Because the people, the market, the people that are voting with their money, that's not controlling it. That's arbitrarily.
They're not voting with their money. They're voting with their no choices and their desperation. People have to eat, they have to drive, they have to do a lot of things. So they have to make a lot of decisions to endorse things they don't like because they have to look after their self-interest. So they'll buy at Walmart even though they hate the company, hate what it does. They'll buy at it because they can't afford not to. All right? Because they don't have the surplus. They don't have the real value of their productive work they're not getting. It's in somebody else's fucking hands. So they don't have the power to make real choices.
Control what they're paid based on what they do, I guess. But someone's got to pick and choose which is worth more. I argue that the market can pick that.
And I've demonstrated to you your market can't, because we couldn't run the market here without establishing a minimum wage, without saying you can't create sweatshops, without saying you can't abuse children. We had to set all kinds of standards for that market because that market will go as low as it possibly can. It will exploit and destroy and consume and kill people. It will do that. If we didn't create safety regulations, we know people would die at work, okay? Because the capitalist would say, I'd rather kill you than pay you.
The free market will pick that pretty damn accurately. You think this should be some other mechanism that controls wages. And what is it? If it's not a communistic type society, then
You know, it's the same thing that decides now. A CEO is somebody getting paid to make the decision, all right, and somebody who's subject to getting fired. Okay, and somebody who's not there because he's a figurehead or because he has a name that satisfies the stockholders. No, somebody's there because he has competence to do the fucking job and is going to be accountable, really accountable. Not accountable to a select few of rich people, accountable to the consumers.